Hi there. In the great scheme of things, after the events of the last 5.5 years, it doesn't take a hell of a lot to make me happy. Um, today made me happy, and I'll tell you why. This is Journal 45, T+39, almost 40 days since the transplant, May 11th, 2019. And what made me happy was our son, Ryan, who, as I have mentioned in the past, is a beast. He's an amazing young man. And today he got in the water at 6:44 for Ironman Santa Rosa. This particular Ironman has special significance in the respect that it is a validation race for the other 12 Ironmen, or the other 12 Ironmen that he's accomplished, and it confirms his earning a legacy place in the Kona race, which is the granddaddy of all Ironman races and probably triathlons in general, I think, but I'm not sure. And you're probably wondering to yourself, why in the world are you talking about that when the blog is supposed to be dedicated to your experience going through this transplant, stem cell bone marrow transplant, and the experiences that you've had at the City of Hope, and I hope I can connect that for you. It has a lot to do with it, actually, especially since Ryan is one of my heroes. We've been to a few races with him. I've been to a couple races with him, and the accomplishment of an Ironman at any time within the 17 hours that you're allowed to finish before you get what they call a DNF, did not finish, and it's a prodigious accomplishment. It's generally a 2.5 mile swim. It's a 114 mile bike ride, and it's a marathon, capped off by a marathon. So finishing it all is a pretty insane accomplishment. And Ryan's got our granddaughter and Stephanie, his wife, and doesn't have a tremendous amount of time to train, certainly not as much as he did before. So finishing a race like this is really something special. Finishing it well is even more special, and I think he had an 11:23, 11 hours and 13 or 23 minutes, not 100% sure, is really an accomplishment. That's a really good time. Probably puts him in the top 12 or 13% of finishers in the entire race, and about the same probably for his age group, which is 45 to 49, even though he's still only 44. The importance is that he gets his ticket to Kona punched with that. But one of the things that we talked about when Ryan did Santa Rosa before, was the fact that it does not matter how well prepared you are physically, how much you train, how scientific your training is, what kind of nutrition you have, what your race schedule is, whether you're able to run your own race without getting caught up in the competitive angst of trying to catch other people who may seem like they're moving ahead of you in the rankings or whatever. And something that he said has always stayed with me, and it's really important when you consider it um, in the context of non-triathletes and athletes in general, or non-athletes and just human beings in general. And that's and this is probably pretty close to a quote, although I'm paraphrasing what he said. Basically, it doesn't matter how well you train if you're not prepared mentally for what you're about to endure. You're not going to succeed. It's going to be incredibly difficult for you to do that because there's no escaping the pain. You know, you'll talk to marathon runners and they'll tell you that there's a wall, and there's a certain place that you hit that wall, maybe mile 13, maybe mile 15, but where the pain is exquisite and you don't really um, think you can make it, and you really are thinking about quitting. And we've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it on the course. I've seen it. I've seen it. That's Ryan on the telephone now. I'm going to go ahead and pause this.
There's Ryan. Yay, honey. Woohoo, here you go. Yeah.
Note to self, before you say you're going to pause something, look to see if there's a pause button. That was Ryan. He was calling after the race. We had a couple of minutes to chat, which was glorious. And it's funny, but he said something that was particularly appropriate for what I've been talking about for the last few minutes. And that is that somewhere around mile 14 to 18, he had real problems, mental problems with where he was in the race and how he was doing and how difficult it is and whatever. And then he fought his way through that. And perhaps because he dedicated this race to me, I don't know. I don't want to be presumptuous about that, but I think that had a lot to do with it. And then he finished really well. And I think better than he thought he would finish, better than he anticipated, mostly because he really, he could finish this race in 17 hours. He could take a nap in the middle of the race and then still finish on time. But it was important to him to do well, and to do well having dedicated the race to me and my fight. And I think that validates what I was talking about before, in that it was a mental finish. It was an ability to draw strength from someplace deep inside to get something done that's particularly difficult and physically trying and emotionally unpleasant, and to fight your way through that, and to experience the joy of that kind of a triumph. And I think there's a really important lesson there in life in general for all of us about what that's all about the importance of being mentally strong, about the importance of having a good attitude, about the importance of thinking positively about what it is that you're doing, and then finishing, getting the job done. And I'm not sure that's any different for anyone who's in this position, any cancer patient, anyone who's going through chemo, anyone who's having a difficult time in life, regardless of what the root cause of that difficult time might be. One of the things that Ryan learned from this experience, this particular race experience, was that even though he thought his tank was empty, he was able to draw on resources, and he had the fastest 8 miles, the fastest end of a marathon in an Ironman that he's ever had before. And he's had some pretty good times. So that's the takeaway, I think. The takeaway is recognizing that no matter how well prepared you are for anything in life, you should recognize that things come up. There are surprises. Some of the surprises are significant enough to knock you on your butt. But it's up to all of us to find that inner strength, to find that core that allows us to turn on the afterburners and accomplish the impossible, because it's not. And the fact that you can finish an Ironman at all is spectacular to me. The fact that you can finish it in a good time is incredible. The fact that you can finish it despite the amygdala, the lizard brain, as Seth Godin calls it, whispering in your ear and telling you that you can't do it, and defeating that particular demon is something worthy of praise. So the next time you're in a situation where you feel like you're getting your butt kicked, and just recognize that you're capable of a lot more than you think you are, and that you're possessed of a really significant inner strength that most of us never have the opportunity to tap. And I'll let you think about that for a while. Stay well, take care. Know that we care about all of you very deeply, and that's it for now.